It ended up raining anyway. A couple of hours later though, so I got a few things done. Went out the front and got the stuff out there, almost all the little gangles as well, through most of them on the bonfire, but not all of them. But the bigger bits I did get stacked around. I got about half of the stuff down there, stacked in the same stack, and a few odds and sods are out the front here. Sometimes you go to cut through and the damn thing will snap off before it's fully through, and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just a couple of bits. Those bits come from around the front there as well, but yeah, it actually looks darker in real life. Oh yeah, it does look darker in real life than the camera's showing it. I may very well go and put on a little fluffy hat and continue on. As you can see, all the blossoms are all out. The almond trees look lovely actually, but these are about to come out on most of them, and some of them are already out, but the almond trees look fantastic. Anyway, now this has stopped. I put a little fluffy hat on and we might continue on. Yeah, thing is it's all going to be sopping wet, isn't it? I filled up the, what's his names too. I had the foresight to do that straight away. To go and basically clear up the last bits at the back here and put them in buckets and get them inside. Often enough you think, oh, she'll be right, and you're not. It'll randomly just rain for 5 minutes, so it's better to do these things while it's not raining, and that is exactly what I did before. If it's, yeah, it gives you a bit of a contrast there. That in the background has clear skies and everything else is grey. It's flaming grey. Yeah, it's probably a bit too early to call it a day. I don't really want to handle everything pissing wet. I don't think the sun's coming back out. And we'll work out something to do. A lot of this is all died back too, but there are hundreds and hundreds of little baby ones all coming up. I think it's just the cold, they just die back. Oh yeah, that's right, I got the lemon-scented verbena, one of them in the back of my car, so I'll have to bring that in. And I'll bring the second one back tonight. It's the native mint. Hopefully all these runners here will amount to something once the weather gets a bit warmer. Yeah, at some point I'm going to have to rip all this friggin' grass and shit out and probably have a go at this one too. It's, damn, one of the runners is sitting down there. Can't spray it if there's flipping runners because it's likely to hurt the main plant. A lot of the native plants are very susceptible to weed killers, so it doesn't look like it wants to empty. Oh yeah, I know. What might account for that a little bit? It's got the blooming thing still sitting up. It's having a go. It's trying. Drizzle out the end there. Get out here again and drop it down. There we go. Actually speed up a little bit more. Yeah, at some point I've got to get all those blooming palings too that I've still got sitting in the front of the veranda here and take them back to my father's stash because I'm sort of sick of them bogging up the veranda. Got to get the white baskety thing there, tub, whatever, and fill it up with a bunch of stuff for kindling as well, a bit of that decking board, but all this stuff needs to go back to where it belongs. Slowly chewing through that, but I sort of prioritise the stuff outside, and if it's all wet, then I use this stuff here inside, well, in the veranda, because I know it's dry. Yeah, as for the house I'm looking after, I've probably got another 15 days, I think. And that'll be the end of the show with that. I'll be handing that back. Oh, and in that, one thing I really should be getting on with, actually, I might get on with right about now, although the ladder's outside too, and it's a little bit damp, but I'll just have to make do, is getting the hot water system here running again now. You guys may well know that the tub in there, the big one on top of the stand, which is up there with a white pipe coming out, that's I'll charge the battery on it too while I'm thinking of these things. I got charge. Yep. That's leaking, that damn thing, so I've got to rip that out, and that's right there. There's something that's got to be done within the next 2 weeks, as well as clean out the house I'm looking after. Yeah, get ready for that to be all handed back. And we'll be back over here on my lonesome again. It seems as though a lot of the time the weather's, some things I look after that place every year, and it's great to have a hot water system and all that over there. Brilliant, because this piece of crap is always battling to get to temperature. It's stuck on a temperature, and that temperature is too hot in the summer and nowhere near good enough in the winter, and pretty alright during the spring and the autumn. Yeah, in that during the transitional period in the last days before I get access to the other place, I have some rather cool showers, and the same thing happens in the early parts of spring. But the thing is that we get quite a few days that are warm, so it's like spring started a bit early, like it started in the last few weeks of winter. So yeah, I probably won't be quite as cold as I have been in other early spring showers with this thing. But anyway, it's probably something I should get to working on now. This is, you probably aren't going to be able to see it, but that is bedded in. Oh, now you can see the tub, amazing. That is bedded in to basically a layer of sand and cement. The same sort of thing they do when they bed in proper bathtubs. You have your basic bathtub, and they plonk it down on concrete, but they actually plonk it down on this sand and cement mix, basically. They slop all that on the ground and they plonk the tub on top of that, and then they build a little wooden frame or whatever, put some, basically tile underlay on the wooden frame and then lay tiles on the top of it. And I've bedded this in to support the bottom, but now that it's cracked, I'm probably going to have to rip that out as well. And I'm thinking of using basically just a garbage bin. I've got one out there that's, it's been outside a little bit, so it's probably not the best. It might be slightly... It's not brittle, but, you know what I'm saying, I'd rather put a new one in, because then there's a guarantee that it's good, as opposed to this other one that's been sitting outside for a while. I don't want to, if I'm going to do all this, I don't want to put one on there that's slightly brittle or going bad. So they're not too dear. They're about, I think they're like $40 each or something. So I'll probably get another one of those, cut it down in half, and bed it in as well. So yeah, but anyway, that's something I probably should be getting on with now. It's just started raining again too. I really should have charged this phone last night. It was a bit low. Anyways, just hooked all this shit up here. Yeah. To see from this side. I got the ladder in here, obviously, but here we go. I ripped off the overflow, even the little bit that used to hold the bucket for the overflow. May rip that off. I've got another one that's been sitting up there ever since I first moved into this place, which was to feed a hose in from the outside into this thing here. Because that's all I had at the start, was just IBC sitting out around the plum tree, which is basically straight out through that wall there. And yeah, I might get rid of that at some point. Don't know where the battery is for the drill. It's probably sitting around, but doesn't matter because I end up using the I don't even know where I sat that. I think it's on the kitchen table. End up using the impact driver. So that got all the screws out anyway. It's just a bunch of, that's the aluminium bit there. It used to hold the bucket. There's a bunch of screws in there. And that's the pipe, and there's a strap for the pipe. You can barely see. Yeah, so anyway, I was hoping this was a bit lower, but it's about half, so that means this is going to be flowing from previous experience for about 20 minutes at least. And then I might get in there and I've got sponges that it's for washing cars, pretty big sponges. You get them cheap as shit, they're like $2 each. And I've got a couple of those out here. I use the same brand at work to clean the trucks. I don't know, it's somewhere under this shitstorm. Plenty of bags here. I probably should pack all the bags up and put them in a nice spot. One day, when I could be bothered. It should be sooner rather than later, seeing I've got a bit of time to do things. But yeah, never did end up getting those blinds put up. But I probably should do that before the summer as well, quite possibly. Anyway, yeah, here's the back of this thing. We go there. Little hole you can see on the bottom. Alrighty. Been using the hole saw to go through here. If you do ever use document tubs as some sort of water storage, I recommend you get some sort of a thing like that, or clips, or some, you know, even the ones that move that just sort of go click and swing up. Something where you get a decently secure lid, and I don't just mean really a clip here and a clip there. I mean something at all four sides that'll hold on. And yeah, with this, I don't know how it's going to go for reachability, but I may drill a hole. So that's part of the bottom piece. I may drill a hole through there and put a bit of like wire or something, almost like a split pin sort of an effect, to hold the back one if it's sort of further away. But the rest of these I'm probably just going to use a few screws, a few of these flat screws that I salvaged out of something a little while ago, and it's basically like, they're like wafer head screws, and whack those through to sort of hold the lid down to your edging here. Yeah, see the edge there, there's the lid. So yeah, just whack a few screws in to hold it down. That of course will be after the point that I have at least put the pump inside and fed it back out. As for the line going in, it doesn't matter. But with the pump, because the pump is, you know, about that wide, I've got to drop that in first and feed the stuff up through. But what I am about to do is do basically that. And would have put the 5-gallon bucket will be sitting somewhere around here. But anyway, I'll start mixing it up with that in a second. There's just two of the corners of the formwork, so to speak, for this really need a bit of duct tape or something in there, a little bit, a gap like that, and I'm a bit worried it'll dribble through two of the corners. I've sort of trying to leave it with a hammer, and I sort of, bent one of them out a little bit. Not that it won't take the cement, it's still strong enough to hold the cement, but in getting this out, I just bent one side a little bit, so we're going to have to put a bit of duct tape just to stop it all oozing out through the little gaps that have been created on either end of that piece of wood that is acting as formwork. I'm glad now that I didn't take the formwork off ever, because now I can just pour a new batch of stuff straight in. Anyway, I shall go ahead and do that and probably let it set for about 2 days with that sitting in there, at which point I may just lift that out and then put the pump in and then sit it back down and the screws, and then sit it back down in place. And I may not even bother with the split pin idea or the end there, just screw that as well, because it's going to be essentially rather light until, of course, water gets into it. And, in a way you do have to think about that, but all it means is that I'm going to have to be able to reach to the other end to unscrew it. Or indeed even reach there to pull a bit of wire out. And if you can reach there to get the wire out, you can probably reach there to get the screws out, but some of these Phillips head, they tend to jump up and down a bit if you don't have a terribly great driver. Yeah, as you can see with this one, there was a north end and that end was a south end, and that helped me work out what was what. This is a bit different with this one. We had plug there. When all this shit was rolling around everywhere. There's a lug there and another one at the end, one there and one there, and it was a pain in the ass to get that end one to clip on and off standing at this end. But yeah, it's that's only half the size, so it's sort of probably not that bigger a deal. On occasion, the boss has some jobs sort of come through unexpectedly. They're usually sort of like, in the last half hour, can you send somebody out tomorrow? In the last half hour of the day that the business is open. I usually get about half of those, but it seems so many times I will go and walk outside just to get something out of the car, look at the spinach, pat the cat. I would have been inside for 2 hours, and in the 2 minutes that I go outside, I get a call and I completely miss it. And a couple of times I've rang back, only when I looked at my phone half an hour later, and then they say, oh no, too late, we've rang one of your other workmates, and he's, taken it, sort of thing. Trouble is, I can't just jam my phone in my pocket around here and just walk around, because it just won't pick up, and I just won't even get a call at all. So I put it in this nice little spot, and then, you'll be just step outside for 2 minutes after being inside for a few hours, and that's when you get the call, and I just got another one then. The thing is, this time though, I heard the text message come through. What happens is if I get a voicemail, you get a little text message, and I heard it come through with the text message, and I thought, that's funny, and I've just been standing here eating a bit of chocolate, and, text message, I'll go and have a look at this text message. Sure as heck, she's rang literally a minute ago, didn't even hear it. So, I don't know, it might be something up with the blooming ringtone or something. I'll have to piss around with another phone and see if we can get it to ring in, but I have been getting some, in all of that, there's a lot of the guys that have been with them for a long time, they get all the jobs that come through. I often end up doing the Saturday stuff because other people don't like doing Saturdays, and all the little, a fair few of the little odds and sods. This is a quiet time of year, so their main nearest and dearest and people who have kids to look after and rent to pay usually get priority, especially seeing that most of those guys have been there for more than a year. Yeah, I just got another little job that's actually working for somebody else. The last job I actually had to drive to it. It was only half an hour, but I had to drive all the way there with my car to the edge of Capital. And this one isn't too far away from that same spot. It's also on the edge of the Capital, so I've got to go in there tomorrow. And this guy's actually rented his own truck. I don't know, but he may be have a truck license himself, or one of the small trucks. We've got trucks here that you can drive in a car license, and I mean actual commercial trucks that you can drive in a car license, like Isuzus and all that, you know, your real square, boxy looking things. And yeah, so I've got to go up there and help him out with all that, but it's going to work out quite a nice little deal. Sort of good to get thrown into some of these things. It's a very subcontractor-based sort of a job. That's the way they just run the show down there. And yeah, there's benefits to it for him. You know, he never loses out any money, but you know, it's one of these things where it's sort of means the work isn't quite as consistent as a result, sort of thing. But you do get some interesting things in the process, and occasionally there's a few perks. I won't lie, there's been the odd person that's given you 10 or 20 bucks for lunch, just there you go, sort of thing. And on top of, you know, the payment for the job, which is not too bad. But yeah, anyway, I better get on with all this crap because I'm going to be out for most of tomorrow. Whoa, well that is that. Used about a bag and a half. I thought I'd at least use 2 bags, and thought, you better get a 3rd bag just in case. So I'm going to have to dump the 3rd bag in the laundry or something like that probably. Anyways, you'll want to look at this obviously. Yeah. And it's very hard to see. Let's see if I can change my position a bit. There it is. These are little switches there for charging, and that's it there. And yeah, I didn't even cover the whole thing. You can't see, but I didn't even cover the whole base with blooming concrete. I didn't need to, so I actually put little bits of wood. Fuck this fucking light issue. Little bits of wood anyway in the gaps, and the truth is concrete never even got to it, so yeah, there it is there, and that'll sit there for a couple of days. Probably shouldn't move these random bits of wood and shit off of the place. And yeah, after 2 days that should set. Then what I've got to do is thread through that there little water pump. It would be nice almost if I could jam something. It's a bit hard because it sort of has got itself a curve after such a long time, but there's sort of muck building up in the line, and to give that a wipe out before I rehook it up in some form, like a bottle brush cleaner or something. I was just thinking, got to be careful because you know, if I've got it stuck up there, I don't know if I can undo the fitting on the end of it, on the pump end to get it out. But yeah, the other stunt is you actually get like a little length of rag, and then you get a bit of wire and tie it round it in the middle, and that same bit of wire is what you push it up there with. So when it comes out, you know, it's tied to the rag, and the rag can't get blocked in there. But doesn't really matter. But it's one of these things. It's like a lot of things. It's like when you go to get a car registered and put, you know, roadworthy. You know, you change the oil, you change the plugs, you do all the other little bits of maintenance that you probably should do when you've got it all apart, and that's sort of what I'm hoping with this. But I can't really remember if those fittings come off or not. I've got a feeling they don't. But anyways, that's up there. And yeah, on the have to see how I go, because I'm going to be up near the capital. I might try and get these extra damn fittings for that overflow. Which just reminds me, I didn't put the damn overflow in the thing. It doesn't matter really anyway, because I'll leave it sit up there for 2 days, and then I can actually, I think it's one of these things with this overflow, you can get it the perfect right size, but because the flanged, I don't know where I left it sitting, you guys have seen it before anyway, the big flanged nuts, because they're so excessively large, you can drill a hole quite a bit bigger than it needs to be and whack it in. And that hole saw I was using, that's like another, probably 1/4 inch too big. But you can throw that in anyway, because it's going to, you know, it's going to seal it regardless. Because the actual thing, I mean, honestly, the flange nuts, you know, there's supposed to be 3/4 inch pipe that goes through, and the flange nuts would be, oh shit, nearly 2.5 inches wide, you know, and the rubbers are the same size with it. So anyway, it doesn't really matter. I can take it down and do that after the cement is set. Yeah, theoretically it'll set in a day, but I'd like to get it down. I'd like to sit it up there for 2 days to make sure it's set, and then take it down for at least a day and leave it off for a day, just to let any moisture get out of the concrete sort of thing. I know, technically speaking, concrete doesn't fully dry out for something like 120 years anyway. But yeah, I just don't like the idea of moisture build up underneath the container. So it might be one of these things that I sort of, you know, leave it off for a few days. We're sort of getting warmer days, so it'll evaporate a bit out, but I can't really just magically make it evaporate a heap out. And the fact is that it actually, concrete will actually set better. I mean, I know it's only sand and cement, but it's, you know, pretty much, I think it runs along similar lines. It actually sets better by drying out slower. And if I was to get like a friggin' propane heater or some shit, like that, what is it got, the Coleman Black Cat, or even this little butane banger, and try and dry it, that would actually not be as good as it should be for it. The reality is it's only just a base anyway. But yeah, anyway, if I'm going to be up in the capital, I might see if I can, I know there is a big irrigation joint on the way back, and I might see if I can drop in there and see if I can get the couple of little bits that I want anyway. And the reality is I probably should go poking through my own stash right now to see what I have got in my glorious little tool room here. And there you can see new wall up there. Light's dying down for the day. It's about 4:30. So anyway, I'll start piling through all this.